So this is what outside's like, huh? How's it going, everybody? This is Griffdog here, and it's time for our first Q&A session. And so it's something special, something a little different. Decided to go outside. This is my backyard, so something different, something to look at while not looking at my face. So something different. And so just as a heads up before I get into answering your guys' questions, since Griff Talks is not happening, as compensation for not doing that, I'm going to do a Q&A session about once a month. So if you guys missed out on asking a question for this month, you guys will get another chance to ask a question at the end of July. So with that being said, let's get started. So to start things off, I'm going to answer a question from the USAR, and he asks, first of all, what do you think about popularity of NASCAR and IndyCar outside the United States? I don't really know much about the popularity outside the United States. I guess I'm just so enclosed in the United States, if you will, that I don't know much about popularity. I know it's popular in Canada because I know that every time FS1 is at Mosport, they talk about how so many people come out for the Truck Series. And I know a lot of people love the Nationwide Series when they raced at Montreal back in the day. So it'd be cool to go more global, but at the same time, I don't really know if we need to figure out United States first before we can tackle outside the United States first. And then he did have a second question, what is my opinion on Russia as a country? I think it's cool. I'm not Russian by any sense, but I just know that the landscape of it is beautiful. And I know they have Ivan Drago from Rocky IV. If any of you guys have seen it, I recommend it. Great movie. But I mean, I personally don't have any problems with Russia. I know in mainstream news that Russia has a big problem with the United States, but me personally, I don't really have a problem with that. So the next question comes from X-Man #1 Never Gives Up, and he asks, Griffdog, can you do a what if Jeremy Mayfield didn't get suspended from NASCAR video? So, I'm not going to do an in-depth video, but if you want I can tell you what I think would happen. Because if I remember correctly, Jeremy Mayfield wasn't necessarily in any big rides. He kind of, I know he went to Bill Davis with that 36 team for a while, and then he went to the 41 team. Even if he didn't get suspended, I don't think much would happen. I would say at best, he would be picked up by JR Motorsports and he would drive a Nationwide car for 2 years. Kind of like where Elliott Sadler is now. Otherwise, I don't think Jeremy Mayfield will get back to where he was 2000, 2001. Next question from Mr. Ocean CM3882. He asks, what is my favorite color? Yellow. Yellow's just been a big color for me since I was born. And I don't know what it is about yellow. It just seems more optimistic. It seems more of an uplifting kind of color. And it's just something that's been sticking with me for a while. My favorite NFL team is the Green Bay Packers. They're yellow. The college I went to, they were yellow. And it's just something that's been with me my entire life. Next question comes from Savage Garden Yes, The Wiggles No 2003. And he asks, what if SpongeBob drove for NASCAR? Do you know how many crashes there would be? I've seen the episodes. I see that he does not have a license yet. So first of all, he wouldn't even be allowed to be in NASCAR in the first place, let alone be in NASCAR. So if you guys want to see more crashes, then let's get SpongeBob in. But I would honestly say leave him out for right now, and then we can deal with SpongeBob. Let him mature a little bit, let him just kind of take it one step at a time, and then we can get SpongeBob in there, and then he can compete with Chase Elliott for the championship or something like that. Alright, next question is from Alan Wiltsey, and he asks, do you like turtles? And if so, what is my favorite type of turtle? I do understand the meme. But on a serious note, yes, turtles are great. And my favorite turtle, the Koopas. Love those things, especially the ones with the red turtle shells. And yes, I am that guy, and so if you want to make a meme, I am that guy that would stomp on the turtle, but I won't actually kill the Koopa. I would stomp on him so that the shell would split off from the actual Koopa. I'll just take the shell and I'll do my business with it without actually killing the Koopa. Why? Because I care about turtles. They're beautiful. Well, Koopas too. Koopa is a turtle. So they both definitely, they mean a lot, and I care a lot about them. And so if you want to make a meme out of that, you guys can. Next question is from Flame Runner 101, and he asks, are you ever going to do the 2017 Daytona 500 for what if Dale Earnhardt was still alive? Not anytime soon. And the reason why is because I am so dedicated to One More Spark right now. And I mentioned it before in a previous episode of Griff Talks that I just personally did not like how What If Dale Earnhardt Was Still Alive kind of what it turned into, because it turned so scripted, and I had these moments where it's like, it did just happen by themselves, like I made it happen. And so the point of One More Spark is I'm letting it more to the simulation, because you guys know that NR 2003 is a simulation style game. I'm gonna let NR 2003 let it do its job and simulate. And again, like, Dale Earnhardt is still gonna be alive. So eventually we'll get to the 2017 year and Dale Earnhardt will still be alive. And so the big question is what'll happen? We'll find that out. But the difference is other drivers like Davey Allison, Adam Petty, Alan Kulwicki are also gonna be involved as well. Thanks for the question. Alright, next question comes from Kamikaze Games. And so he asks, how did I get started doing camera work at short tracks? So it hasn't been fully mentioned, and like I haven't like been boasting about it, but where I live, I did work as a film guy at a local dirt track. And so just to kind of get off the NASCAR train for a second on life lessons, it's who you know, not what you know. Now sure, I'm a big racing fan my whole life, but how I got the job was a couple of years ago. I worked at a news station, right? I was just a production assistant. I did some editing, like videos for the news station. A guy that I worked with, he had connections with the racetrack. And so I told him about my love for NASCAR, and he told me that there's an opening as a camera guy there. And he asked if I was interested, and I was like, sure. So in 2016, all throughout the summer, I did all the races, and then I did one in 2017, but unfortunately the dirt track right now is looking for an owner. So if like Tony Stewart or Casey Kane, if you guys are looking for a racetrack to buy and own, it's called Badlands Speedway. We do need an owner for that track so that we can get dirt races back there. So if any of you guys can connect with him whatsoever, that would be fantastic. And just as a side note, I just realized I feel a little bit of wind. Hopefully it doesn't affect the audio too much, but we'll find out. Good question, Kamikaze. Next question, do you think Dale Jr. deserves more recognition for his time at DEI or at Hendrick? So if I remember correctly, Jr. has driven at Hendrick longer than he has at DEI. So technically I would say Hendrick, but his beginnings were with Dale Earnhardt Incorporated. So I guess to answer your question, we should focus more on the Hendrick side, but we should also recognize the DEI side as well, because that's where like his rookie year started. Plus when he had his infamous, or famous I should say, Pepsi 400 win in 2001, that is where like a lot of his popularity came from. Next question is from Cool Dude 20. What is my channel name? Griftdog. Welcome to Griftdog Productions. Next question, okay, this is an interesting one. This comes from Frisky Nixon or NASCAR Nixon. He asked, has Danica hurt or helped the future of females in Cup? So this is the way I see Danica, and I guess I can give my opinion, if you will, on Danica Patrick. So what Danica has done is started the train of getting females into wanting and desiring to get into NASCAR. Now, the one thing I'm a little about is how Danica got into NASCAR. Because if I remember correctly, Danica was raised in the IndyCar. Like, she was more comfortable in there when was ready to race in there. And so, I could be wrong, but I felt like money had to do a big thing with Danica moving into a stock car. Because a stock car, they're bigger, they're heavier, and they're harder to drive. And so Danica, as a famous driver in the IndyCar series, I think with the persuasion of money, brought Danica over to the Cup series. And just like the way how she like got into Cup, I'm not totally a fan of, because she raced in the Nationwide series like 3 years and then went straight to Cup, you know? So she got a little comfortable, but at the same time, like in the Nationwide series, she didn't really prove herself. I know she had that one stint at Montreal in 2012, but she never had a real, I guess, defining moment, if you will. At the same time though, because it showed that she is able to be in NASCAR, other female drivers can look up to her and be like, you know, I could be as good as her, if not better. So I'm really disappointed that like Joanna Long does not have a ride, but at the same time, it could open up the ride for someone else. Because I know there are a few ladies in the K&N East and West series that are trying to get their way up, but they need to keep working on it, they need to really harness their skills, and learning is everything. As for Danica herself, not really a big fan of her, but at the same time, she really has put in a stepping stone, if you will, for other females to come in and lead by example. Next question comes from EU-LPS, or LPs, and he asks, do you watch the Virgin Australia Supercars Championship when you have the time or chance to? No, because I don't know what station or where it's being played. Because again, I'm in the central United States, I'm nowhere near Australia. I've heard it's a good series, but I really don't know much of anything about that series. So, sorry about that. So next question comes from Rasheem Stewart. How you doing, Rasheem? He asks, what was the moment that I fell in love with NASCAR? I wouldn't necessarily say it was one race, I would say. It was more of throughout the year, if you will. And so it was 1997, and I think I mentioned it in a previous episode of Griff Talks, but the big thing is the paint schemes. Just the paint schemes and the colors, because I'm a huge color nut. And if you guys seen previous episodes of Griff Talks, if you guys look at the different clothes I wear several different colors. So, with that being said, it's the colors that really got me into NASCAR. Because especially in 1997, you had Bobby Labonte's green car, Jeff Gordon's rainbow car, Mark Martin's blue car, Terry Labonte's yellow car. And you just had these mishmash of colors coming together, and with numbers and just going fast. Like, that's the stuff that really got me into NASCAR in the first place. And then the more as I've researched and kind of understood what NASCAR is and what it's all about, that's how I got into NASCAR. So, good question, Rasheem. So next question comes from Negative Alex 88. First of all, why so negative? I mean, you could look at the fact that you're breathing, you're alive in this world. Why you gotta be so negative? But anyway, I'm just messing with you. On a side note, so he asks, what would happen if Dan Wheldon survived the crash at Las Vegas in 2011? And what would have happened if he retired from IndyCar to join NASCAR? So, I don't think Dan Wheldon would have gone into NASCAR, but if he did, I would say he would probably go to Chip Ganassi. I don't know, I just feel like, because I know that he used to drive for Chip Ganassi before going to, what was it, that 77 car? I would say he would have gone to Chip Ganassi for NASCAR, and he would have replaced Juan Montoya in the 42 ride. Either that, or Dan Wheldon would have had his own ride, and then Montoya could have kept going in the 42, and then Kyle Larson could have driven the 42 car in 2014. So I don't think it would have happened, but if it happened, that's where I think Dan Wheldon would have gone. Alright, next question comes from TruckDriver03, and he asks, do I think that Kyle Larson could possibly have a chance at the championship this season, or will he fall like last year? Hate to say it, but I think he's gonna fall. Like, I know he's been learning, and I know he's been putting together races more, and he has 2 wins so far this season. Good for him. I just don't think he can put it together just yet. I definitely think he'll go far in the playoffs for sure, but I think he'll get to like the round of 8, I would say, and that's about it. I don't think he'll get to the championship 4, but you know what? I've been wrong plenty of times before, and so Kyle Larson, use this as motivation and get yourself that first career Monster Energy Series championship. So this next question comes from Robert Paul McCrindle, and he had 2 questions. First question was, what do I think was the best Daytona 500 since 2000? Yeah, that's tough. I mean, there have been some good Daytona 500s, and there have been some not so good Daytona 500s. I'd probably say it's 2007 Daytona 500, just because of how exciting it was. Now, true, it wasn't exciting until it got to like 30 laps to go, but just having the close racing and cars just bumper banging off each other, and then having the first side-by-side finish at the line, having the closest finish in Daytona 500 history at the time, was really cool. And it was so, like, and also too, the paint schemes for that race, they were so diverse, and that's why that Daytona 500 was probably the best for me since 2000. And then the other question he had was, will I consider Paul Tracy's NASCAR career in one more spark? So now I'm being a little iffy with one more spark, but this does bring up an interesting point. So with one more spark, a big thing I want to do is I want to give teams and drivers that didn't really or wasn't really so well in the Cup Series, give them that second chance. And so I also want to work with teams that are from the ground up And honestly, I'm not a huge fan. I mean, it's cool, but I'm not a big fan of having those indie drivers and other drivers coming in and trying out NASCAR. So I'm not going to give a yes or no to Paul Tracy, but I'm going to focus more on from the ground up. So like for example, 2007, 2008, you guys remember Brad Coleman? He was a JGR development driver. What if he continued going? What if he had a chance to be in the Cup Series or something like that? That's kind of the focus where I'm going to go. But like if a door opens up for Paul Tracy to be in a successful Cup car, then I'll consider it. So hopefully that answers your question. Next question comes from Mario's Minions, and he asks, what do I think about the charter system? So I think I've mentioned this before, and the charter system is okay. I just wish they could have done more, you know, because I know, like, I think a charter system is kind of like an NFL team, but I wish that, like, if you have a charter, everyone has equal access to everything. Equal time in the wind tunnel, equal cars, equal tires, equal engines, just so that they're more equal and so that the racing more depends on the driver than anything else. Unfortunately, that's not the case, and I think at this point, really the biggest thing for charters is that you're guaranteed into the race. And so the open teams, I wish there were more open teams, but because right now there's such an influx between open teams and charter teams, that there really isn't much of a, it's not good to be an open team, because you don't have as much access or resources as a charter team. So, like, I'm fine with a charter team, but I wish they kind of alter it and fix it more so that we could have more equalization, if you will. Hopefully that answers your question, Marios. So, next question comes from Tanner Hart, and he asked, if I could bring back an old track or add a new track onto the Cup schedule, what track would it be and why? At the top of my head, Pikes Peak. It's just because I love that track, and I know it's not like totally competitive, but it's just my track, and it was the first race I went to back in 1999 when the Busch Series went there. And so I wish they could bring that track back, and honestly we need more races out west. Because if I recall, like, we got a lot of races out east, we got some in the Midwest like Kansas, Kentucky, and Chicago, and then you got a couple out west, so you got like Sonoma, California, Las Vegas, Phoenix. So I kind of wish we did spread a little more west, and again, if I could bring back a track, it would be Pikes Peak. Now we're gonna get a little more serious here. From Sim Racing Central, he asks, what is my future with this channel? Big thing right now is One More Spark. Because unfortunately right now, just kind of where I'm at with life, I can't necessarily do like my channel full time. And so again, I want to put my focus more on One More Spark. And so to still connect with you guys, I want to do this Q&A session. And so, as I mentioned on the previous episode of Grift Talks, doing the show has really took up a lot of my time. And so right now what I'm doing is I'm scaling back a little bit, and I want to focus on the content I want to create, which is One More Spark. And so right now, that's my focus, and really that's my only focus. And so I would love to do YouTube as a living, but with the YouTube adpocalypse and just the way things are going right now, it's not really the best direction for me. I'm gonna keep going, like, but the thing is, the channel, it's kind of a hobby channel, if you will. I'm still gonna be active as heck, so don't worry about that. But I'm not gonna be popping out videos all the time, because again, I still believe in quality. So hopefully that answers your question. Next question comes from Hunter Carper, and he asks, what type of music do I listen to? It varies. And so as you guys know, I do work out, and so when I do that, I either do like heavier rocks like Disturbed, and I've lately gotten into Five Finger Death Punch, just their latest album though. Some of that harder rock stuff. And then I'd also listen to EDM as well. If you guys don't know what EDM is, it's like electronic dance music. And so you have like your Steve Aoki, Afrojack, Laidback Luke, Major Lazer. Those are the type of people I listen to there. And then I do listen to quite a bit like softer music too, like more Christian music. And yeah, I'm just gonna throw it out there, I am a Christian, but I'm not like boasting like, oh, I'm a Christian, you guys should believe in God and stuff like that. But I don't know, I like listening to it just because it's calm and helps me get to sleep at night. So hopefully that answers your question. Alright, so another good question. This is from David Matthew Vinat Jr. Vinat. Sorry if I said that wrong. And so he asked, what am I going to do about predictions the rest of the season for the races? So what I'm going to do is on my social media, so across Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, what I'm going to do is I'll do a little video, and on there I'll just say what my predictions are. But since you brought it up here, I'll go ahead and say my predictions for Daytona. So as you guys know, Xfinity and Cup guys are racing at Daytona this weekend. And so I'll just say right now, the Xfinity winner, it's going to be tough, but I'm going to say Joey Logano in the 22. Just because I believe that. And then driver to watch out for, I'm gonna go ahead and say Elliott Sadler, because he won 2016, but I don't think he's gonna win, but definitely watch out for him. And then on the Cup side, just for the heck of it, I'm gonna go ahead and say Chase Elliott will get his first win of his career, and it'll come at the Coke Zero 400. And no, I'm not just saying that as the meme, as, oh, I'm going to keep predicting it until he wins. I think Chase Elliott has a fair shot to win at Daytona this year. And then the driver I have to watch out for, of course, is Dale Earnhardt Jr. because this is the final time that Dale Jr. is racing at Daytona. I'm sad, whatever. I already cried. I took care of that already to take care of this. And yeah, Dale Jr. is my driver to watch out for, but I think Chase Elliott will get his first career win. Alright, so I adjusted my brightness a little bit because I know it's getting darker behind me. The sun is definitely starting to set. So I got a couple more questions to answer here, and then we'll wrap up this video. Alright, so here's a little more, just I guess more about me, if you will. But Speedy G18 asks, do I watch any other sports besides NASCAR? If so, what are my favorite teams? Big one is football, NFL, and I'm a Green Bay Packers fan. I've seen them just since I was really little. So that's my big NFL team. Not a big NBA or NHL fan, but like if I watch them, I'm with the Colorado people. So like Colorado Avalanche for NHL, and then the Denver Nuggets for the NBA. And then baseball, I'm really weird. I am a Chicago White Sox fan. And so I like baseball too. I don't really watch them much either. But if someone would come to me and be like, what's my favorite teams? That's what I would say. Daniel Squarepants 13 asks, what is the most memorable race I have watched in NASCAR and why? That's a tough question. My most memorable race. I would probably have to say the 2003 Aaron's 499. The one where Ryan Newman got on his side and had that 27 car wreck. Probably that, because I remembered how vividly that wreck happened, and I remember Dale Jr. with the front valence all taped up, somehow getting back to the front and winning the race. It was a great race, I love that race, but it was definitely memorable even after, what, 14 years. Nick's Gaming, sorry I already answered your question, the music one, and I already said EDM, some Christian music, some rock. So I guess to add on, just specifically for you, Nick, the two kinds of music I don't listen to is like current pop stuff. I just don't like that, and that's just because I'm a rebel. Anything that is really popular, I just generally don't like. And unfortunately, I'm not a big country fan either. And that's just my opinion. Like, I'm just not a big fan of country. So, if you like country, that's awesome. I just can't see eye to eye with you on that. Let's see. Alright, the other junior. So your two questions were, what is my favorite and least favorite drivers? So, as of right now, at this point, my favorite driver is still Dale Jr. And then my least favorite driver, I hate to say it, but it is Jimmie Johnson. I respect him. Before you guys start bashing me, I do respect Jimmie Johnson. I respect his 83 wins, I respect his 7 championships. That doesn't mean I have to like him though. And so, I'm pretty sure I'll probably get a few other questions asking like who is my least favorite and stuff like that. Biggest reason why I am not a fan of Jimmie Johnson is because it came at a point in time where it's like I wanted to get invested in NASCAR, but it's tough because Jimmie Johnson keeps winning all the time. And not just wins, but like championships. And it's like, oh, there's no point in picking another person to be the champion because, oh, we know Jimmie Johnson's going to be the champion. And like, I get it, he's a legend and he knows how to get the job done. Him and Chad Knaus are absolute geniuses. But, I don't know. And I'm just not a big fan of his personality either. That vanilla personality, if you will. And yeah, and as silly as it is, even though like I'm not a big fan of Kyle Busch, I respect him more than Jimmie Johnson because Kyle Busch brings a personality to the table. Jimmie Johnson, just, I don't know. There's just, I wish Jimmie Johnson could be a little more emotional, if you will. And so, yeah, that's kind of why I don't like Jimmie Johnson, and then it totally explains the video, which if I recall has the most dislikes, the Dear Jimmie Johnson Haters video. I was mad that Jimmie Johnson won, and it's just like, you know, stop winning, and I'm not a big fan of that video, and I think, what was it? It was a question, I think. Yeah! So your other question was the video I'm most proud of. So quickly, the video I'm not proud of was that Dear Jimmie Johnson Haters video. I know a lot of people hated that video, and as did I. But the video I am most proud of, I would probably have to say last year's Summer Showdown. And the reason for that was because I loved all the effort that I put into that video. All the cars I made in that were custom made by myself. And then that Eldora just came out by John Norton with WC Customs. Great guy, he built some amazing tracks. I will put a link to him in the description down below. Amazing Tommaso 1 asks, what is my favorite NR 2003 mod? I would probably have to say the original cut mod. I just love the original, and I know there's plenty of other mods out there, but like whatever was first, that's what I appreciate. And the original cut, like, it gets the job done. And I mean, it's not the biggest reason, but that is a reason why I'm sticking with the original cut mod for one more spark. David Hutchins asks, do I think we will have a winners only playoffs? If so, what do you think, or who do I think will miss the cut? I don't think so. I think there'll still be, I would say, 3 open spots that are not by winners. And then I think, in terms of drivers missing the cut, I would say right now, if there's any one driver I could like point out and be like, he's gonna miss the cut, I would say Erik Jones. He's right there, but I don't think he will make it. Either someone is going to kick him out via a win, or by points, someone will just be above Erik Jones. NASCAR fan 77 Erik Jones fan. Ironic, because the last part I was just talking about Erik Jones. So he asks, am I a fan of the Disney Pixar's Cars franchise? I did like the first movie. I did. It definitely had that nice little NASCAR chime to it. Cars 2, everyone else kind of said it, and I agreed. There's no point in making it. Too much about Mater, and too much of that, like, otherworldly fling, if you will. I have not seen Cars 3 yet. I don't know when I'm going to see it, but, yeah, it's alright. Cars 1 is alright, and then Cars 2, just not a big fan of. Alright, so Juan Garcia asks, can I probably do a series of what would happen if Carl Edwards didn't retire? Honestly, like, it's just too early to tell, and if Carl Edwards didn't retire, he would still be in the 19 ride. I would say he would have 1 win so far, and if I would have to pick where, I'd probably say Las Vegas. So, kind of hard to really do a what if on that, because Carl Edwards, it happened literally just last year, so it'd be interesting just to take a little more time, but yeah. Okay, here's an interesting one from Justin Rodebach. Hopefully I said that right. He asks, hey Griff, I'm a huge fan of my channel, and you do have a question. Who do you think will move up to the Cup Series in 2018 and leave? So this is all about the silly season stuff. Haven't really followed it too much just because it's too early, but at this point, people actually going into the series, I don't know. I think it's really too early to say, but off the top of my head, I don't think really anybody in the Xfinity series is going to move to the Cup. The only exception I would say would probably be Bubba, or hopefully at least. But otherwise, I think just everyone right now is kind of where they should. Like Cole Custer, I think he'll stay in a 00 for another year. William Byron, I think and hope that he'll stay in the 9 car for another year just to develop a little more. Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, in terms of drivers leaving, Dale Earnhardt Jr., I know he's going to retire. I've said it before, but Alex Bowman is probably going to be in the 88 car, but my hope is going to be Darrell Wallace Jr. I don't know, man. Like, that's a tough question, but at the same time, I think it's too early to call as well. I'm gonna start winding down here. It's starting to get a little dark out, but I'll answer a few more questions for you guys. So next question comes from Michael Harvey, and he asks, what is my most unique piece of racing memorabilia I own? And so, really, I think just the memorabilia has to do with my 1/64 scale diecast, because I've collected those for several years. And so like the rare diecast, like that 31 Wrangler car I showed you in Junior 3 of the diecast of the week, as well as that Casey Kane 79 car. Definitely rare, and I definitely do appreciate that. And then in terms of, what is my favorite piece of race gear? I'd probably have to say this hat. I definitely appreciate this hat a lot. And surprisingly, I don't have much other gear right now. Just something that I haven't been able to buy yet. So yeah, that's kind of what's up. Kboy71 asks, you said in one episode of Grift Talks that you play Black Ops sort of regularly. Do I have a favorite gun, and what prestige are you? My favorite gun is the Commando. I use that pretty much all the time. And then as for prestige, I'm at 4th prestige right now on level 50. I kind of like it being there just because I enjoy just playing the different guns. I love using the grenade launcher. I know I'm a noob tuber, but as I said, I don't like hardcore play it. I just play it for fun. And so that's what I'm doing right now, and anytime I can move up to a 5th prestige, but I'm gonna enjoy the moment for now. Next question comes from 3 Kings Productions. He asks, hey Grift Dog, huge fan here. What else do I do for fun? Nothing. I don't do anything else for fun. Breathing, that's fun, but otherwise, no. I don't have any fun whatsoever. And then, can I get a shout out? I'm not gonna give a shout out. I mean, like, you want me to say, go to 3 Kings Productions and subscribe to him. Like, you want me to go ahead and say, go like his videos, go like his content, but I'm not gonna say that. You think I would say that? No. 3 Kings Productions is actually a coworker of mine. He's a cool dude, so if you're watching this, what's up? Next question comes from Thunderbird Productions, and she asks, hey Grift Dog, hit me up with one of those shoutouts because I'm way cooler than 3 Kings Productions. She's also a coworker, and so she asks, what if NASCAR was like Mario Kart? It'd be cool. I mean, like, going back to the whole Red Koopa shell things, like, if you had like 3 shells and you can, like, if Kyle Busch would like just swing one of those shells and destroy like Jimmy Johnson or something like that, like, that'd be cool. And then like you can have like 5 banana peels and you just throw them into the back. I mean, if NASCAR wants to do a separate league for that, like, go for it. But oh no, that's not what I'm all about. But I mean, it'll be interesting, but I'm not gonna go for that. So next question comes from Taylor Yoakum, and he says, hey Griffin, so watch your channel all the time? Yeah, I guess. How has life as a jabroni affected me so far? Any challenges or perks? I don't know how to answer that question. I don't know what a jabroni is. Yeah, I really don't know what to say, but you know, life is great. I don't know if I am a jabroni, but life is great. Hey, perks and challenges, sure, there's a challenge every single day, but you know, with a smile on your face, you keep progressing through life, and then it will be rewarded to you wholeheartedly. So hopefully that answers your question, Taylor, who also is a coworker of mine. Oh boy, lots of other questions, but unfortunately I have to wind down here because my memory card's getting full, but here we go. Gold Irishman asks, where do I usually buy diecasts, and what is my personal favorite diecast that I have? I usually buy them at Walmart, Target, and then the online store I do, well I used to do, but not anymore, is diecastsports.com. And my favorite diecast, Jimmy McMurray's 42 car, the one from 2003. Love that scheme, beautiful scheme, unique scheme. So I'm gonna do 3 more questions and then I am going to end this video. So, first question comes from King Invictus, and he asks, Griffin, how do I find the time in my schedule to make my content on YouTube? It's tough, but it's one of those things where you just gotta really plan out. You gotta say, like, from this time to this time I'm gonna work on this. From this time to this time I'm going to work on that. But as I mentioned before, as life is moving on with me, I definitely need to do more, like, other stuff. And so it's tough for me to keep that schedule going with the progress I've been making so far. So that's why I'm scaling back, but hopefully it can get me to progress farther forward in life sometime down the road. I know the wording was not the best in that question, but hopefully you can get something out of that. And then you did have a second parter, and it's how did I get interested in YouTube? I just wanted to spread my ideas. Like, again, my ideas I feel like are very unique and different, and I want to share them. And so I use YouTube as a platform to get that out, whether it's through these talks and then the NR1003 content that I make. Man, you guys have so many questions, it's ridiculous. I wish I could do more, but man, there's so much. Alright. So second to last question is going to be from Swagger42, and he asks, how would I change NASCAR to make it a better sport? Go back to the Gen 4 cars. I had no problems with the Gen 4 cars, and I would definitely say go back to that and you're good to go. Alright, so final question comes from good friend of mine named Isaac Sakewicz. If you're watching, buddy, I miss you and I hope things are going well for you. And he asks, have I ever driven a race car, and which one would I drive in if I could? Not an actual race car. I have driven some go-karts once, but I have that mentality where it's like, I think I can kick some major butt. So if there's any, like, I guess owners or everyone's looking for a driver, hit me up. And it could take a little while for me to get a couple of turns in. Like, just everyone needs practice, right? But like, just in the few times I've raced in a go-kart, like, I have kicked some butts. So, and if I could drive a car in a race car, it's a little bland, but I guess what I could give you is like my dream car, and that is a yellow Chevy Corvette. I would totally drive in that, I would totally race in that, and if it means anything, I'm a Chevy guy. So, there you go, that is the type of manufacturer person that I am. So I am so sorry I did not get to every question, but that's the perks of doing this Q&A once a month. So, thank you guys so much for watching. Hopefully you guys didn't get discouraged that I did not get to your guys' question. But you know what? As I said, we'll do this once a month, and hopefully I will hit it in next month's Q&A. But until then, I am going to shut up. I am going to work on One More Spark, and One More Spark Part 1 2001 will be the next video you will see on Griftdog Productions. So, if you guys can, hit that like button. If you haven't already, subscribe already, and I thank you so much for watching. So until then, this is Griftdog signing off, and as always, I will see you next time.